He's the fastest rising Hispanic American political star right now. His name is Marco Rubio. He's the junior Republican senator from Florida. And he's the guy right at the top of Mitt Romney's vice presidential wish list. Now Rubio's at the center of a heated debate over President Obama's controversial new policy that would allow hundreds of thousands of young illegal immigrants to stay in this country. So here's ABC's David Muir with a Nightline interview.
Standing in front of the Miami home where Marco Rubio grew up.
I put that in the sidewalk years ago.
Florida's freshman senator is now carving a new role for himself, quickly becoming the Hispanic star of American politics. But as we prepared to sit down with Rubio at his Miami home, he had to delay the interview. He was rushing to respond to a political curveball from President Obama. News breaking that the president had just changed policy, no longer deporting young, undocumented immigrants. What's your reaction?
While I know that many of these kids will take this as good news because, you know, they're desperate for some sort of resolution, it's a short-term solution.
So the president should not have done this?
I don't think he should have done this by executive order. I think he should have worked with the Congress to try to get something balanced done.
The Obama administration maintaining that something was the DREAM Act and that it was stalled in Congress. And they say Congress should still act.
Hey, I'm glad you asked about the DREAM Act because I have an alternative to it. And I've never gotten a call from a single person at the White House about it.
But these days, the more likely call would be from Mitt Romney. Amid speculation, a Rubio pick for VP could help Romney with the influential Hispanic vote in this country. Rubio often speaks of his parents who came here from Cuba. His mother once a maid and a store clerk. His father a bartender who took note of his successful customers.
He identified success as people that wore a suit and a tie. So I remember as a little kid him telling me, I hope you get to wear a suit. Now, I want you to grow up and have a job where you get to wear a suit and tie for work.
Rubio often told the story of his parents escaping Castro. You've been criticized for saying your parents were Cuban exiles who, along with so many others, escaped a thug in Fidel Castro, when in reality they actually left before Castro came into power. Do you regret having told the story that way?
And I regret not having the date right because I could have avoided that distraction. I never talked about my parents getting on a boat and escaping Castro. I never talked about them some midnight run that got them to the United States. The part of the narrative was that my parents were born, lived, and loved a country that they're no longer able to be a part of.
A story he says resonates among Hispanic immigrants no matter when they came to this country. Rubio acknowledging his party needs to do better with the president far ahead among Hispanic voters. Do you agree that number has to get better for Governor Romney?
And it will, and it is already, because I think our answer is, I think our story and our message is that there is nothing more important in the Hispanic community than leaving your children better off than yourselves.
You say that our message is, I was struck by the word our. Do you think you would help Governor Romney if it were a Romney-Rubio ticket?
What I mean ours is the conservative Republican message. I'm not discussing the vice presidential things, not because I'm trying to be evasive, but out of respect for Governor Romney.
You've got to be thinking about it. We heard the Freudian slip.
3, 4, 5, 6, 7 years from now, if I do a good job as vice president, I'm sorry. Yeah, I wouldn't have Freudian slipped. Is that when they ask you so much about a title, eventually it's going to seep its way through your commentary.
Respected by conservatives, some still wonder aloud if Rubio is experienced enough. 4 years after John McCain picked an unknown governor from Alaska. Did you think that there were vetting problems?
I think people forget how much enthusiasm she brought to that campaign. Look, John McCain did not lose the election because of Sarah Palin.
4 years later, Rubio welcomes questions about his own history. His new memoir out tomorrow. In it, the family's many moves as a child, the journey to Las Vegas, where for a time the family switched to the Mormon church. You were baptized in the Mormon church?
Yes, that's right.
You and your cousins, I read, would sing?
Yeah, well, we had
the Osmonds?
Yeah, if you're, you know, the Osmonds, especially them, are pretty popular especially among Mormons. Yeah, we would lip sync, basically.
What song, do you remember?
Sweet and Innocent. I remember the words a little bit. I'm not going to sing for you.
A few years later, the family would become Catholic again. Today, he attends Mass with his wife and 4 children. They also attend services at a Baptist church.
Todo el mundo le dice Mago.
Back here in West Miami, he's still the boy who would show up after school. But Vice President?
Not now.
Not now?
He deserves to be president, not vice president.
Oh, he wants you to wait and be Presidente, no Vice Presidente.
Okay.
All of it a whirlwind for the wife he met back in college, and now their 4 young children.
And that's our family. You're 4.
No, I think.
When you look at your husband, do you see a vice president?
Oh. Don't fall for it.
I see a husband and a dad. That's what I see.
As the Republican Party and Mitt Romney tonight still debate whether they see something else. I'm David Muir for Nightline in Miami.
Well, tonight, Marco Rubio announced he's shelving his version of that DREAM Act until after the presidential election. Thanks to David Muir for that, and thank you for watching ABC News. We hope you check in for Good Morning America. Jimmy Kimmel's coming up next. We'll see you here tomorrow.